Hi, everybody. We are starting topic 6, which is around percentages. So let's take a look at page 347 in your books on lesson 6. We're going to learn how to represent and find the percent of a whole. So this should be a review, but if you have questions, make sure that you're checking in with Mr. Marcotte or see me. So let's take a look at this. Tom has made a vegetable pizza and a pepperoni pizza. He can cut the vegetable pizza into 5 equal slices and the pepperoni pizza into 10 equal slices. Tom's friends ate 2 slices of vegetable and 4 slices of pepperoni. So our first part here is we're going to draw the lines on the rectangle pizza, which who eats rectangle pizzas? That's my first question, but we're going to play along with this. So the vegetable one is 5 equal slices, and the pepperoni one is 10. So let's pause here, and you are going to show me how would you do this into 5 equal slices and 10 equal slices. All right, so there's a couple different ways that you could put this into different slices. I would probably go this direction and cut them into fifths, and they're not easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So obviously that one's a little bit, you can use your pencil and kind of fix those up a little bit. That's how I would do it. If you go this direction, you could do the same. It's just a little bit harder. And so I'm going to do the same kind of slices. And then I'm going to cut those in half. So those are my 10, not perfectly equal. I'm sure yours are going to be a little bit better because I am doing this on the fly. But I think we have represented a whole. I have 10 pieces of pepperoni and 5 of the vegetable. So now we're going to go look at part B, where Tom says his friends ate the same amount of vegetable pizza as the pepperoni. So let's go back up. Tom's friends ate 2 slices. So I'm going to use, I think, my pink pen here. 2 slices of the vegetable, 2. So there's 1 piece, 2 pieces. And the pepperoni, they ate 4. So we're going to pause in Edpuzzle, and you are going to tell me, is this a true statement? That they ate more vegetable, or the same amount. Did they eat the same amount of vegetable pizza as the pepperoni? But I want you to tell me how that can be true. Okay, and then you guys like a little challenge. So let's look at the focus on math practices. If Tom's friends ate 6/10 of the pepperoni pizza, how could you use the rectangles to find the above the equal amount of vegetable pizza? So you're going to explain to me on Edpuzzle. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. We're looking at 348, and we're going to talk about percentages now. So when we think about percent, I always look at that and go, cent has to mean 100, and so we're talking about per 100ths, and it's always going to be the th, because we're looking at less than 1. Okay, so what percent of people prefer bright white toothpaste? A percent is a rate in which the first term is compared to 100. The percent is the number of hundredths that represent the part of the whole. So if you, this is where I don't want you to say 0.25, I want you to say 25 hundredths. And when you hear that, that's like saying 25 over 100. So if I say this properly, 25 hundredths, I know that that will be 25 over 100, which we know is 1/4. Okay, so on this scenario, we have 7 out of 10 people prefer that toothpaste. So if we're thinking about hundredths, we know that it's 7 out of 10 This one's super easy. We can add that 0 and we know it's 70%. And I think that you would know how to represent that this way. You can also put it on a number line, 7 out of 10 or 70 out of 100. You could also flip that and put it as a decimal. And then you can also multiply it by 100. Okay, so you've got lots of different ways that you can solve things. So let's do a try it. Jane won 9 out of 10 video games. What percent of the video games did Jane win? So we're going to pause here and you're going to tell me. Okay, now we're back. So if it was 9/10, we know that that is equal to 90 hundredths, which would be 90%. I think a lot of you will be able to look at this and go, oh, that's 90%. But let's talk about that on our next meet. When using equivalent fractions to find percent, why do we write the denominator as 100? Pause and tell me that. Okay, one last example here. Each line segment represents 100%, but the segments are not the same length. Use equivalent rates to find the percent or part of each segment. So this is a little wonky to me. So point A is half of a segment. So 1/2, it's 50% of that line segment. Point B is 1/4 of the line segment because it has to do the jumps. So it's only a fourth, and that's 25%. So which point represents 50% on the second line segment? Yes, you're correct. It would be line or point C. So be really careful and look at the labels on some of these questions, because just because it says these are lined up and these are 2 inches, you have to look at what is the whole and what is that representing. They're going to try to trick you on these, okay? Example 3, you can use percent and mental math to find the length of a segment. So this line segment is 10% and it's 4 inches. So what would the total be? So if we think 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, you could also times the 4 inches by 10, because you know that you're going to make 10 jumps if you want to count that out. So that would be 40 inches. Make sure we label in those. So if E to F represents 200%, what is the length of the line segment that is 100%? So think of putting that one in as 6 inches over 200. How do we get to 100? We're going to go backwards, and so that's a half, and this would also be a half, okay? So just pay attention, circle things that you know are important information, draw your pictures if you need to, and let's go play with some percents.